You cut that a bit
Hey,
fine, didn't you?
I'm on time.
You just got in time. Yeah, just got in. You cut it a bit fine. Where have you been?
Well, you mentioned about the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and luckily they've not set off. So they're all right. I was just making sure he was all right.
Oh, well, that's the most important priority. Yeah,
Yeah.
for those of a younger ilk, that's sooty, isn't it? Or is it
Yeah,
sweet?
he just told me I should have more social distancing. So
Oh, well, let's lean back then. Let's lean away. My chair leans back.
anyway,
So, yet another video. What are these things called? We call out. Oh, there's the dogs.
who let the dogs out?
That's the window cleaner I warned us
Well,
about.
no. This is what you want to talk about today, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's we set that up really well, didn't we? Because that is one of the perils of working from home, a distraction.
Those dogs now are going to want to cook, aren't they?
Yeah, they will. They will. But a cut of nothing is still nothing.
But this is one of those things that I think
I'm trying to close the door.
We working from home before this thing happened.
Yeah.
With the COVID-19, which we'll call it.
That's the big word for it.
The working from home for a lot of people was, oh God, I'd love to work from home. And in my training, with my training hat on, I've got a hat for training, that would be silly. The number of people, I'd love to do that. And of course, now that a lot of people are doing it, they're going, oh, can't wait to get back to work. So working from home is not an easy thing to do.
It isn't. It takes a level of discipline. We both are lucky enough to work from home quite regularly, and I have 3 days a week from home.
Yeah.
And you've worked from home for decades, and I've worked from home for a decade, give or take a few years, with various employees or employers. So you get used to it, but it does take some getting used to it. It takes quite a bit of discipline, doesn't it?
It's all about discipline. It's all about structuring your day, not being distracted by coffee, not being distracted by the things like the dogs, but you are going to get those distractions. And that's what you have to realise. Those distractions are going to happen, but those happen in the normal workplace, and that's with your colleagues. But you rationalise it and go, oh, this is all about work. Yeah. If you actually heard some of the conversations that people have, they are mostly not about work.
Absolutely.
It's being able to cope with those things, knowing that the window cleaners were around, knowing there's going to be a delivery or whatever, but planning your day and being disciplined. And one of the biggest things is actually planning your day. Because if you don't, it's, I'll go and have a cup of coffee now, I'll go and do this, I'll talk to the neighbour. Yeah. But it all is around saying, what have I got to get done today? Yeah. And I'm going to do it.
And I think one of your key messages, because I've kind of listened to what you said about working from home when we used to speak years ago, and one of your key ones was recognise that it's okay, and it's probably the best thing to work in spurts and bursts. Oh, yeah. Don't try and do it all at once.
But most people have got about 3.5 hours in a day when they can work at peak. So there's going to be downsides. But again, attention span is about 20 minutes. Energy is about 45. Yeah. So it's working to those. I have a slightly different way because when I get up from between 8 and 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm peaking.
Yeah.
Well, I'm peaking down there because it's not a great peak. But that's a peak for me. That's when I really get into it. Once I get round to, the time we're recording this right now, I'm starting to go, well, I'm coming down a little bit. And then for 2 hours in the afternoon, I'm less productive than I need to be. Now, I'm in a position I don't need to be that productive, so that's all right. But it's knowing your peak energy times. Now, most people I talk to, it's a fairly similar thing. But you do get some people who are not morning people.
Well,
the beauty of working from home, you should be able to say, well, I'm going to make sure that I can do things my peak time.
I think that's key, that word should. I think we need to switch that to will and can, because I'm not a morning person. I know. I'm not a morning person. I really struggle with anything before 11 o'clock, if I'm honest.
And you're not that good after 11 either.
No, I'm not. I've got about 5 minutes, 11:05, and then I'm done. But yeah, I mean, if I try and do things before 11, it's a struggle. It's difficult. It's painful. But if I give myself that time off, or like you said somewhere else, just devote that time to the between 9 and or 8 and 11 to the menial tasks, the little things that don't really matter but still need doing.
But you see, if you look at the psychology, when we go to work, we actually go to work. So at 8 o'clock, let's do 8 o'clock. People start early and that, but it's kind of, oh, I don't want to go to work. But by the time you've got on the tube, got on a bus, got in the car, cycled, walked, whatever it is, you kind of work yourself up and boom, you're there. When you're at home, you don't. It's easy to procrastinate and go, oh, I won't do that. I won't do that. The key thing is to get started at some stage. Now, if you can set your times, then fine. But get started. But sometimes get started on the easy stuff and then do the other things. So once you've got into the swing of it, you're not thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You're actually getting to, oh, I can get things done.
Yeah, you've built up to it. No, it's good advice, I think.
And it'll help you. Also, the other thing, though, from is, the dogs and distractions and, kids and whatever. So you've got to make sure that you do have, if possible, a little space. Now, not everybody does, but it's actually to find that little bit of space. To get in your laptop, answer emails, get on the phone or whatever. So you can go and stand outside and get on the phone and give yourself a bit of distance.
Yeah. So kind of don't position yourself in front of the TV, laptop on your lap, literally. Don't. That's a no-no, isn't it?
The settee is no. The settee is the social side. And you do have to say, well, that's a business time, whatever it is, and that's a social time. Because what happens is the two kind of blend in together.
Yeah.
And you don't get enjoyment from either. So you're not achieving stuff at work. And the social things you're interrupting with work.
Yeah.
Keep them apart. I've run my own business. Well, it's me. But basically, I've been self-employed for years. And I know the first year when I had a dedicated office, which was really nice, and I was very, very busy for the first few years. When it came to Christmas, for example, I actually put a sign on my door saying the skills exchange is closed.
Right.
Just so I didn't go, oh, I know it's Christmas Eve, but I'll just nip in and do that. No.
Yeah.
Boom, and you're finished.
So a psychological barrier and a physical barrier, they work together. Yeah.
But it's more the psychological thing, because it's easy to go, well, I'll mix the two up. Well, you will have to sometimes, but keep them as much apart as you would do when you go into a physical place of work.
That is really interesting. I think people who watch this, it's interesting too, because it does feel like a natural thing to merge the two.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, to divorce them and keep them separate means you can, and a word you used earlier, which I don't often use and assign to the word work, is enjoy. You can enjoy both because they're separate. I like that.
But the beauty of working from home is you can enjoy it a bit more because you can almost set your own deadlines. Now you can't because you're going to be meeting things. But on some days you can go, I'm just going to get it done. And I'm going to go at 3 o'clock. Yeah, all right, I'm on call, I'm there. But I can do those other things.
Yeah, because you might choose to start at 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can, or work late the previous night, because it's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as much as anything, it's up to you, because, there are other demands on people. But it should be something that you do. But it's you use the word discipline. And it's almost, writing down, having a to-do list. That's not to-do list, it's just a piece of paper. But having a to-do list, because it's easy to go, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Well, this is where you really need, in work, you may have a manager or the business or whatever driving you along. At home, the only person perhaps driving you along is yourself. So get organised, break the day down into chunks, say, no, I'm definitely going to eat then, I'm definitely going to have a break then, I'm going to have a little walk then, whatever. And walks are really good. I mean, I know kind of limited nowadays how long the walk, but that walk just makes the brain work better.
It does. Often a lot of ideas will spring into your mind when you're distracted by a walk, taking a bit of exercise. It's true.
But be different. I even know people who, and this came up in a radio program we were talking about, and it was, oh no, I make sure I change at 5 o'clock. And that's a very good thing. I've always, bizarrely working from home, I change my socks at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had this two sock day, which would baffle me before, but
we've talked about this,
yeah, we have.
Yeah.
But there's some sense to it. I see the sense now.
2 sock way is the way forward.
Well, now you've explained it like that, it does make some sense.
But what it is, it's that psychological finish. So it's kind of work's finished. Now my social life starts.
Yeah, it's bringing some of those hardwired disciplines from the office environment into your home.
Yeah. And it's the daft thing. And straight up, it was talking about this because my son does it as well. So I can only blame his parents. Well, one of them.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I wonder.
Well, one subject I really want to cover, because this still haunts me, and the fact that when you're working from home, you sometimes, and I often, feel guilty. Especially, it's different now because people are all at home, but when your colleagues are in the office and you're at home, I sometimes feel a level of guilt because I feel I've got it better than them because I'm in my own environment. How do you counter that guilt that you're actually at home? It feels too comfortable.
You just have to realise you're an idiot. This is why. This is. I go through this as well, or be through it. I don't feel guilt anymore. I look at it. I write the things down I've got to do, and then I make sure that I've gone through. And the one thing I like about a to-do list is not the to-do list itself; it's the done list. When I've got it done, boom, I'm done, and I'm not going to feel guilt about it.
And that gets rid of that guilt, yeah.
And it's a very natural thing to think, well, you're working properly, I'm working from home. No, if you're doing the job you're paid to do, that's it. I'm now kind of in a position where I don't have to work every day, so that guilt thing kind of kicks in, but I don't let it now. Right. No, I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And you're right, there's a lot of people think now, oh, I feel guilty about being at home. Oh, we've got to be at home. Well, that's all right then. Well, fine. This is just mental.
Get
rid of it. Your view of things is not reality.
Do you think that level of guilt pushes some people on to push themselves further and do more than they have to?
Sometimes people just do things to fill the day and make themselves feel better. You get judged by, you used the word in a previous podcast, productivity. All that matters is you get the job done. There was a guy working for me ages ago, and he said, this was in sales, slightly different. He said, what do you expect me to do? And he was a very experienced guy. What do you expect me to do now? I'm reporting to you. I said, I expect you to be 20% over forecast. And he went, oh, is that it? I said, that's your job, to be, on or over forecast. You do that, I'm fine. He said, are you bothered what I do? I said, well, ethically, yes.
Yeah.
He said, well, what do you mean? And I know what he meant. He meant, if he doesn't do much on a Friday, am I bothered? Well, if he's doing his job, I'm not bothered. Just get your job done.
And people really respond and value that kind of flexibility, don't they? And if employers adopted that approach, rather than trying to squeeze out everything, just gave people that flexibility, they get more in the previous 4 days.
But it's a squeezing out. There's a situation I'm dealing with at the moment with somebody, is all I'll say, because I need to be a bit vague about this. But the guy who runs the company is now micromanaging everyone because they're working at home. All that says is, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
And their response is, as soon as this thing is over, we're losing. Because you're not treating us like adults. And the vast majority of people like to be treated like adults. And
absolutely.
But it goes back to what you said. You can't just say, oh, there you go, you're working from home, you'll be fine. You've got to give people that help. And you've got to get people over that psychological barrier of guilt, of being disorganized, of being distracted, or whatever, and help them get there. Some people get there very quickly, some people won't. It goes back to what you said. I was, when I worked at 3M, I was one of the first managers to work from home when we had a massive computer which you can never connect to anything.
Yeah.
But I remember going back, you'd be surprised at this, go back to my A-level and O-level days, and it was the summer I loved because, it was actually probably downtime before the O-level and A-level for revision. And I loved that because I was by myself, and I would sit down and I'd do loads of revision all day.
Right.
And I was by myself because I didn't have TV to distract us and stuff like that.
But you are a gregarious social person, so that does sound strange. Yeah.
But you can get the two, because obviously I was driven to get over A levels and get to university. That was my goal. But then when I did all that, there was a lack of guilt to go and play football, hang out with mates. Not that I had any. Play football, these sort of things. It's mostly playing football I was doing. But you can't have the fun bit without the balance of the achievement bit.
No, and I've seen you. We had the pleasure. He says. I hope you feel that way. Of working together several years ago, and I've seen you.
You had the pleasure.
I did. It was.
I had the pain.
It wasn't reciprocated. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I've seen you actually kind of live by that mantra of you're a fun guy. You like to have a laugh and a joke, but you will have those periods of 2-3 hours where you will crack on and rocket something out, and you live it.
Most people, when we talk about motivation of staff, most people like getting things done.
Yeah, you get things done. Yeah.
And it's like, this thing we're having to live through now, I like having a beer, but I won't have a beer if I've not achieved something. If I've achieved something, then great, I can have a beer now.
Yeah.
But, having a beer without achieving stuff, I'm not too sure about that. And it's a very similar thing about the guilt. It's playing with your mind, really.
Yeah. And where I think, certainly in today's times, employers could learn from you is, it's fine to ask someone and people to get things done, but give them a break when they've got those things done. Don't ask them to get more things done and more things done and more things done. Yeah. Recognise that people have their own lives as well.
It just needs to be realised that, you're not going to get the most productive. This case I was talking about, and it's someone who they have to furlough along a lot of staff.
Right.
And by the way, can you take a 20% cut yourself, but can you do 80% more work? Well, who's going to go, oh, yeah, that's fine. I'll do that. Most people, when they're treated fairly.
Yeah.
I worked at 3M, we were a great company. Never paid the best salary. And when I talked to my boss about it, he said anybody who goes and leaves 3M, when I was there in the 80s and 90s, he said they very quickly come back because they go, that extra 20% isn't worth it.
It's more about the environment and the way you're treated.
Yeah.
Those companies that get that right, they're the ones that succeed, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's what long-term successful companies do. Short-term successful companies push people. In the end, people burn out or rebel.
Yeah,
that's.
And does history show that eventually those companies themselves will break?
It tends to. You don't tend to see people surviving on it longer term. There will be exceptions to that people can think of, but it's unusual. There's a comment when I'm talking about management that I love, and it's some Polish guy whose name I can't remember said it. So dictators always look good until the final few minutes, and in other words, people will rebel against things. Because that's a very natural thing, and that's historically that's always happened.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, and that's what people do at just the local level when they're doing work. And the number of people that I've mentored over the years, and they've just said they just don't enjoy working there. And I go, well, leave then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but and suddenly it's kind of, I can leave, can't I? Well, you have a choice.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
Yeah, it's not always, because at the moment I don't think there's an awful lot of choice for people.
No, people are kind of locked into many things at the moment, whether it be their home, their jobs, or those who are lucky to have jobs. I do feel for those who don't. But those who have and are working from home, I think let's get back to the things that that brings. I think people, once they get over that initial shock and get into the rhythm, I think they've got to be reminded perhaps that they can actually enjoy it. It's okay to enjoy working from home, isn't it?
But you should enjoy it. And this is probably something that people dream of, but it is sometimes when we've got what we dream of, we're kind of surprised and just get
now.
stuck. Yeah. So treat it as, I know that the times that we're talking about are very weird, but treat it as a gift, and therefore get yourself organised, get things done. Make sure you're not doing the classic thing of, well, nobody's looking at me, so I'll start everything Friday, I'll get it done. Get it done as early as possible. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then enjoy the rest of the time. And, just enjoy it, because we will go back to, goodness knows when, it will go back to, in inverted commas, normal. And that's when you may not enjoy things again. But you may have, say, I got a runny nose, but it's not just cold.
No,
it's lack of heating in here. It's not that at all. And it will get back to, so just enjoy it while you can and make the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a possibility that those switched-on employers will recognise that the people have worked from home, the business has carried on, maybe even succeeded. Lots of people might be invited to continue working from home.
Yeah.
And so make the most of it, make it work for you.
And that's what most people want. But it's just the circumstances around it, I think. But it's that thing of playing with your mind, just saying, these are things I've got to get done. I'm going to separate. So I'm going to be really organised. And, even if it is when I've got this done, that, I'm going to give myself a treat, which is, in your case, chocolate or a cup of tea or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. But the only thing that people struggle with is sometimes being self-motivated. Now, I've never really had that as an issue.
Yeah.
But some people do need that help in getting motivated. And it's finding out what those things are and understanding and aware that we keep using awareness
And acceptance, indeed. I think one thing you've touched on as well, I don't know how much time we've got left, but 3 minutes. One key area, I think, is the idea that working in an office, most of us, if we work in an office or even in retail, it tends to be 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, 10 to 6. When you're working from home, if that works for you, then brilliant, make that your schedule. But as we've touched on, it doesn't always work that well. So you can break it up, stretch it out, condense it, whatever works. Take more breaks if you need them.
But all of those things, and just the last point that I want to make, which links into that one, which is working in an office, why people, part of the enjoyment of that is the other people and the social element.
Yeah.
That's the thing that is sometimes lacking at home. And it's just the ability to talk to people or just shoot the breeze with them. So, this is why these things that we've now got are great. So make sure you talk to your colleagues. Yeah. Make sure you have a chat. Make sure you are actually connecting with people. Because we still need that. And there is a time to use your phrase, focused, I'm going to get stuff done.
Yeah.
But you've got more ability to do it because it's harder to interrupt people when you're working around, as long as you're disciplined. Yeah. But you've got to be disciplined. So
let's finish with, because you're kind of the guru of working from home.
I'm not a guru for anything.
What are those bullet pointed tips and advice then that you can finish with?
The bullet points are, negatively, do not feel guilty. Yeah. Right? Set out your tasks during a day. Work out when you're going to do them, what's the best time to do them. But give yourself always a little bit of slack as well, because other things are going to happen. Yeah. Make sure you distance work and social life to keep them apart. And if you can get a little place which is just yours, get it there. We are creatures of habit, and we like going, to our desk or whatever. Yeah. Just replicate that a little way, but make sure that once you're done, you're done. And it's tidied away, and you get on with real life. And working from home gives us more chance to do that, because we've got maybe an extra hour to 2 hours in a day when we're not traveling.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing else. Yeah. And just make the most of it, because it's what most people have always wanted to do. So, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Yeah, grab it with both hands. Never grab a horse with both hands. I don't think they like. But just grab it. But you've got to be really, really positive about it. And I know the circumstances are slightly different, but do it, because it could go back to what you said. I think a lot of employers will go, we don't really need these premises. We don't need this. We're just going to leave you and trust you to do it. Yeah. But people have got to respond to that trust.
That's great. I think if they do those things, they will be happy or happier, which is
be as happy as Oprah Winfrey.
Well, and isn't she happy, especially when she's watching our videos, I hear.
I know. Well, she's been ringing me.
You as well. Oprah, stop ringing Len. He's a busy man.
It's control over the environment and say, no, I know what phone calls I'm going to accept.
Okay,
so don't ring me anymore.
On that madness, we'll end. So thank you, and email Len. Email.
Len.polly@btinternet.com.
Nice one. Thank you. See you later. Oh, okay. AndrewANewbound@gmail.com. Get in touch if you want to get in touch. We're happy to
Nice,
talk.
Yeah, but they've seen us now. They probably won't. Anyway. Oh.
Wave with it on. See, we're new to this.
It's more of a clap than a wave. Well, there you go.
Nice
Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Somebody just wants to finish off. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh, dear. Sutty's scaring me. Sutty is scaring me.
Got me leg. He's got me leg.